right. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yeah, we're excited to have everybody here. First off, we want to thank Jessica and the Office of Collecting. This place is amazing, especially for all you new folks who've showed up who haven't been here before. This is a real special place. So, and we're trying to get it so she charges so that we can get people to make her more money so we can keep her here in this area. So that's always the big
Shout
thing.
out, Jessica has an event on Friday at 6 p.m.
And by the way, Jessica has an event on Friday at 6 p.m. So you can definitely come down and support her there. Well, my name is Shwa Laytart. I am the owner of Avantpop Books and Publishing, along with my wife, Sugar. I, too, am a poet, and as someone who loves wordplay, poetry has always been something that's interested me, and I've loved running with words and making them my own, which is why I love poetry so much, because poetry is basically controlled chaos with exploding emotions, statements and accusations, story and lyric, both sound and silence. Poetry is a form that is constantly moving. And one of the forms of poetry that I've always enjoyed is a genre in itself, which is haiku. Haiku is created from Japan, and it started out as a party game. And so from there, it's gone on to evolve into a few other forms. And the best part about poetry is that it has no rules. So even though most haikus are 5-3-5, you can play with all the syllables in those. So the contents are usually about nature when it comes to haikus. And the language is simple, usually avoids complicated words and grammar, and free of metaphors and simile. I find the haiku to be perfect for our clickbait lives that we live in. So here's a few of my own that I thought I would read for you. This one covers one of my favorite gifts that nature provides us. You are my healer. Take care of me. Sacrifice your sticky green buds. So I do write for Cannabis Magazine, so I just want to point that out there. So I like to count these out too. So you are my healer. There's 5. Take care of me. Sacrifice your sticky green buds. I think I counted those wrong on my hands, but they sounded right. Another thing about haikus is you can blend them. And senryu, which I'll explain later, is another form of haiku, but a little different. Still waters run deep. Raging waters move boulders. Stagnant waters kills. So, nature you can talk about, but then you want to blend in a little emotion. And we'll do some of those later. That's a senryu. Since haikus are generally about nature, this one is for the destruction of. There's only one left. Just act now to make it yours. Take the life from it. Yeah, not the fun nature one that the Japanese were probably doing at party games, or parties for games. But anyways, so we're so glad to have everybody here. And one of the goals we've had is to create a poetry reading session that is not so much slam and not so much focus on contests, but just to allow the poets to read their work and to give the space for them to be heard, and sometimes for the first time. So our first guest poet this evening is Margaret the Dreamer. Since the first week of opening Avantpop Bookstore, we've been asked by poets if we can publish their work. We tell them that if their work fits into our vibe of the store, then we'll definitely consider it. Margaret the Dreamer, however, stalked out our bookstore first to see if we were the right vibe for her work. So, right off the bat, I respected that. Margaret the Dreamer's poems are like short stories about a personal world of emotion and evolution. So, please help me welcome our first poet of the evening, Margaret the Dreamer.
Thank you, guys. I'm just going to get set up over here real quick. Well, as Shwa said, I am Margaret, go by Margaret the Dreamer, and I do some what people would call shorter form poetry. A little bit longer than a haiku, but ironically, I am finishing off with a haiku. So we're going to do a lot of them, but it won't feel like that. I'm going to say fin at the end. You can throw some snaps in, but we're going to kind of steamroll and then take a break and then steamroll and take a break. So I'm going to start for you guys with the one that I know I have memorized. I'll give you the title and then we'll just get right into it. So this one is called Pretty Woman. Is it vain or is it self-reflection to spend time making eyes at the mirror just for my pleasure? Validation and shame attempts to feel free to be me, critiqued for seeking my treasure. Cocky or confident? Who defines the line they're in? Who really defines the line that they're in? Self-absorbed? I'm trying to soak up myself with love, the love I held out of reach, so above. Fin. We'll get right into this. This is called Listen. When the air feels like light, it brings me delight. Wispy pull brought forward to my senses, somehow gentle, although dense. Breathing in inspiration, inhaling all the provocation to feel, create, and live out loud brightly. Thoughts and ideas bounce around lively. When I notice that vibrating higher, it's impossible not to admire, unhampered by doubt. This is truly what life is about. It's all within us, yet we bury it away, becoming hidden within the fray. You can be who you are, precisely, truly and delightfully. The universe is in you, and you can take part in it too. So much happiness to be given if we only listen. Fin. This is called Light of Our Lives. Art is to inspire, and to inspire is art. We all draw from the collective consciousness. Our energy is all one, and such is our inspiration. It's not anyone's idea alone. There is all the eons of energy and creation that is the muse. She is the true God. Love and hate, pleasure and pain, chaos and orderly, Mother Earth and otherworldly. She is what it is to have a soul, to be alive. Alive is expression. Our life is expression. Art is expression. To suppress it is to kill the light of our lives. Fin. This one is called the Untitled one because I don't have a title for it, so that's what it's called. It's less about finding out what's for you, more about discovering what you're for. Doing less of the closing and shutting off increases the opening of doors. Making room for others with grace affords understanding when you need to take that space. Genuineness is what gives us our place to face. Since connection is our truest direction, we must remember not to hide from seeing our reflection on the fact that chasing our dreams only comes true when we bring others along too. Fin.
Yeah.
This is called Sweetness. Sweeter than I love you is I prayed for you. How can that even be? No, you see, you misunderstand. I love you is a prayer, the deepest and purest one. Fin. I'm going to read to you guys now from the Avantpop Punk Poetry Anthology, which Shug and Shwa were so gracious to let me stock them out and decide to put me in.
Decide to put me in. Yay.
But really, honestly, thank you both because as I see it, you're building yourself into big pillars in this artist community. And I know a lot of us here are very eternally grateful to you guys and don't want you to go anywhere. I'm so happy that you guys have ushered me in some, and I can't wait to do more with you guys. So I'm pretty sure you can still buy this too. I'm not sure if you can or not. Yeah, I think you guys still can. So there's that too. There's other great writers that are also sitting right here that you might hear from in a minute. So there's that. So we're going to change it up and be a little sad now. for a moment. This is called Burn. I've never fallen out of love of my own accord. I've only been forced out, door in the face, left in the stoop, out in the rain, in pain. How can you call it a game? I'm the only one hurting when I hear your name. You're still caught up on your fame, and really, it's just you running from your shame. Flame you once carried for me has dimmed, so you say. I have to wonder, did it ever truly burn for me anyway? The saddest part is when it all comes down to the wire. I still set myself on fire, knowing you don't care to watch me burn. Finn. A little relatable, probably. This is called Lines. The magic is in the lines. I can do what I set my mind to, if I want to, that is, when I'm so inclined. So often, though, I find myself encumbered and thoughts swirling, feeling like my time is numbered, and I'm trying to be kind. Doubt creeps in with fear and stress, getting to even the best. Confusion and delusion over time, almost making me forget that I write the line. I write the rhyme, and it may take time, but I'll gain sight, eyes wide for where I've been blind, and still, I'm trying to be kind. But I'm gonna get mine. I write the line. Finn. Thank you. This is called New Home. This is a lot more recent. I can feel my vibrancy clearly for the first time, truly allowing room to enjoy, feeling with the tendrils of my soul, feeding deep on mirth for what it's worth. And honestly, it's so precious, the most luscious and delicious, so fulfilling. The highest is the price on earth. To not value others' perception of me more highly than my own. Happiness lives within allowing oneself to reveal oneself, to sit with the essence and accept it with awe. Allow my heart to be a home. I will make my heart a home, for I am safe in my home. Finn. There's lots of other good stuff in here, guys, so don't be afraid to go on over to Avantpop and check that out. We're going to go to the old phone here.
The note section.
Yes. We're going to get a little romantic for a couple of these. This is called From My Heart. In every beautiful love note, notes in all of the love songs, every lyric I've ever heard, even after you've been gone, makes me think of you with every word. In my daydreams, the happiest of fantasies, the central theme, it's you and me. It's so surprising, unless my mind is lying, that when I think of you, I feel like I can feel you thinking of me too. Notice, I said my mind would be the liar, since you set my heart on pure fire, and when I look inwards and inquire, we are the sparks and embers in that flame that burns. Gentle warmth when I hear your name, towards storms of the spirit feel quieted and tamed, hands yearning to trace your fame. My soul singing when I see your face, feel the air in your space, energy we create together filled with goodness and grace. All I can say is, no matter what may, it feels like it's fate, so I don't mind the wait. Finn. I'm gonna sneak a little drink in real quick here. This is called Love is Alive. I love you so much. It delights me, feeling young at heart with a crush, but I'm more of a lush, getting drunk on your love. How could I not be addicted when you're so, so delicious? You're like a million birthday wishes come true. I mean, just look at you. And it's not because of your looks, though your attractiveness is one for the books. I see you, feel you, all the way into the nooks, my hidden spaces and fears. It feels soothed, like it all becomes clear. Put your hand intertwined with mine, a net to catch us, so we may stand the test of time, you and I. Finn. Come back into some more universe stuff. This is called All of It. all of it, together at once. Recognition and respect renders reciprocity. All of it, together at once. Our world, our lives, all of everything understood. And what is not enters the ether, and we are all ethereal. All of it, together at once. Shifting perspective, speculative from observation, ignoring that we all have a slice of the divine. All of us, together at once, together with all of it, together we find God. Together we are God. Finn. I got one more and then a haiku for you guys. This is called Summertime in Heat, which is truly what I wish it was right now. Just letting you know, this winter is not my season. Channeling all of the heat for this. This also is maybe a little sexy. Summertime in Heat. Passion I have radiates from the heart, burns in my loins, wet and deep like the ocean. I beg you to join. The zeal I have for life, you feel it in my eyes, my touching you sensuously, listening to your desired cries. I'm strongly longing to please, to bring you to your knees from intense pleasures. Pleasures my body gives you can't be measured. Captivated, wild souls caught in an instant. Lust giving and receiving, drinking you into my magic. And feeling is believing. Finn. I'm going to go with this haiku to send you guys off. And ironically, I think it breaks almost all of the rules that Shwa was just discussing up here, possibly. Yeah. I think it is highly metaphoric and maybe not as straightforward as it seems at first. I think it goes by 575, though. And I wrote it because of another pillar in the community, Miss AV. If you guys are interested in poetry workshops, definitely look into looking her up as well. She told me to lean into the shortness of the work that I do rather than running from it, because I was very afraid for a while that the poems were not long enough. I would see people go up for 3, 5, 7 minutes, and I'm like, I've got like 30 seconds here. I don't know what to do. But she told me that she actually won a slam poetry contest with a haiku. And she kind of challenged me into leaning into letting my process be that and believing in that. So we're going to do this haiku, and it's called Haiku for You, which it is. This, our universe, you looking inside in verse, you speaking in verse. Haiku for you. So my name is Margaret. You can follow me on Instagram. I'd love that. It's Margaret is Dreaming, and that's it. Please follow me, guys. And I'm excited to hear from everybody else. And thank you, Shug and Shwa.
Yeah.
Well, now you know why we're so excited to have Margaret the Dreamer. Yeah, that's thank you, Margaret the Dreamer. That was fantastic.
Thank you.
Yes, that's one of the greatest things about poetry is that they have structure and form, and you can fuck all that up and do it your own way. So there are no rules, which is great. One of the other short forms that the Japanese were playing with at the time of haiku was senryu. And senryu is just another short form poem structure, much like the haiku, where the haiku talks of nature. This one is human nature. So senryu mainly talks about us and what we go through. Oftentimes they're comical about our follies and our silly screw-ups and foolishness. Other times they're as sweet as a little kiss. And other times they're, well, at least the ones I write are a little darker. So much like this one here. Disagreeing words, if only to be a dick. Argumentative. That's one that, you know, I often think of other people being like this, but then I had to look and say, well, wait a minute. Sometimes I like to argue with people for no real reason, just to be a dick. But there are other ones that are more loving, much like these next two. Sunrise at our spot, cool moon air, warm sunlight. Your hand, my soft kiss. And along those same lines, your touch, like cream, soothes my nervous skin. Safe again, it says.
Aw.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, in our program, you'll notice that we asked a few questions about our poets so that you can get to know them a little bit more, and outside of their work here that you see. We asked, what inspires you to create? I put down suffering. This becomes clear when you read many of my poems. Our second guest poet tonight wrote down overcoming obstacles, and it's a much more thoughtful and delicate way of saying it, I think. It's this thoughtfulness that shines throughout his work, and much like the poet, is an inspiration to read. Let's give a warm welcome to Roderick D. Talley.
Oh, yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Real quick, first of all, thank you, Sugar and Shwa, for hosting this type of event. You told me not to do that, and that's the first thing I did.
I love it.
The very first thing I did. But yeah, my name is Roderick D. Talley. My wife and I just relocated here a little over a year ago, and we're also, I say we because we're one, but yeah, we're also bookstore owners as well.
Oh,
And
awesome.
something that was drawn me when I met Sugar and Shwa is that like we're so totally different in what we do, but we have a passion for helping other people. And that's very, very hard to find. Like you might find some people that want to help for a little bit, but we're like, nah, we need to help each other out a lot, personally, business-wise, no matter what you believe. So I'm a God-fearing man. I'm big on not just saying that, but actually living by example. I know we Christians, we have a horrible history. I'm not going to even lie. We have a terrible history. The way we treat people and everything, and I'm trying to live by godly example, how Christ did in the Bible. And so it's a whole lot different from what you see now. So I'm big on being transparent, admitting my mistakes. I make mistakes every day to people. And I come to realize that that's what's actually drawn people to. It's actually gotten people to pray for me more and support, and me praying for them as well. So enough said about that. So I got 3 good poems for you all. And with that being said, I just pray that these are a blessing to y'all. So this first one is called Rough Starts. I'm pretty sure we can all relate to this a little bit. By the way, I'm going to try my best not to yell. I'm big on projecting my voice. I realize this is a small space. I'm not yelling at you all. It's not you. Y'all didn't do anything to me. I promise. I promise. All right. I'm not feeling it today, y'all. I'm just not feeling it today. I've been feeling out of sync ever since the moment I woke up. I'm already distracted by multiple things and the sun ain't even fully up. I'm already running late for a couple of appointments. Today I just feel like I'm a big disappointment. I don't feel like being a positive person. I just feel like swinging my fists and cursing. I've been reading a couple of guidance books and devotionals, but frustrated that it feels like the lessons in them haven't taken root in me at all. I feel like I'm growing distant from my Heavenly Father. I don't feel His presence anymore, and it's got me quite bothered. Today, I don't feel like being a soldier in the army of the Lord. Today, I don't feel like wielding my indestructible sword. Pray for me, y'all, because I don't feel like fighting no more and being a good soldier. But see, the love of God is what has kept my heart from becoming heavy like a boulder. I know very well that I am far, far too blessed to allow this feeling to dwell throughout the day and indulge in its mess. I can hear the Lord saying, "Wake up, King. This is only a test. Wake up, queens. This is only a test. Rise up out of that place of shame, doubt, and duress. Get back to fighting that good fight and continue to press and get ready for the new thing that God is about to do in your life next." Thank you. I'm gonna go right into the second one. Next one's called Youthful Connection. I grew up in tough communities over in Ohio. Unfortunately, a lot of people that I knew grew up with me either are dead or in jail. And I definitely had that expectation most of my life, unfortunately. But thank God I'm still here and I'm a free man. So thank God for that. But this is one of the reasons why I'm so big on making sure I have an impact on everyone around me, especially our youth, because they are our future. And I need to make sure that if I'm not trying to feed into my future, then we don't really have a bright future ahead of us. So youthful connection. I've got to stay connected to our youth. I have got to stay connected to our youth. You see, I've been to countless funerals of teenagers and 20-something-year-olds, and that indescribable feeling of pain never gets old. I dread seeing the faces of their parents and grandparents as they lay their flowers on top of their caskets. And then I attempt to comfort them as they try to regroup from their loved ones' unfortunate passings. I've got to stay connected to our youth and inform them that death is the only thing that you can't rebound from. That there's nothing cool about living or dying by the gun, leaving your parents crying helplessly over the deceased bodies of their most prized possessions. That you're worth much more than being pierced by the bullets of guns. That you're worth much more than those demeaning words told to you by some of your loved ones. That to the ways of the streets you do not have to succumb. That there are many other ways to live your life besides these detrimental ones. I've got to show them that part of maturing means sometimes walking away from a situation before any more damage can be done. You're better than that mess, young man. You're better than that mess, young lady. I'm begging you, please stay connected with me and other role models who think similarly and allow us to inspire you to become the kings and queens that God has created you to be. Thank you. All right. Good on time. This last poem. I'm big. I wrote this poem. It's a love poem for my wife. First of all, I'm gonna just get out there. We've been together. We've been married. 7 years, coming up on 8 years, and we're still honeymooning. And I thank God for her every day. So I wrote this last one for two or three main reasons. Number one, to show fellow men in our culture, African American culture, we have a stigma. We have a bad stereotype of not showing love to our women and not being open to our women. Unfortunately, now we're doing a better job at it. Don't get me wrong. I'm seeing a lot more men doing better, but that's the kind of stereotype I grew up in. So that's some things I had to unlearn. So I kind of wrote this to let other men know, hey, we can show our love towards our women. In fact, it's actually best that we do that. I'm a testament of that now. I have a happy home, peaceful home. I make sure I'm there every night. Good timing. I get off at 7. I'm like, hey, I'm there at 7:12. But nothing. I know I'll be kind of like, man, let's go. All right. Praying I don't hit nobody. But number two, I realized I came up around a lot of women who honestly told me they don't even know how to be a wife. They never even grew up knowing what goes into womanhood. What goes in, not just, just womanhood and period. Like, what goes into being a grown woman, a grown adult, And so I was like, well, these are some things I've seen from women that are married that I admired a lot. And so this poem kind of plays two purposes. So it's called Love Avenues. And I actually start this off with a Bible scripture. In Proverbs chapter 12, verse 4, the first part of it says that a wife of noble character is her husband's crown. Think about that for a second. A wife of noble character is her husband's crown. I love discovering that the scriptures in the Bible are true because, Mrs. Talley, this scripture surely applies to you. The Lord had this scripture in mind while he was creating you. The Lord knew that you would captivate my heart before I even approached you. I fell in love with everything about you. It was much more than just a physical attraction. You stimulated all of my senses before we even took part in any physical action. You constantly set off fireworks inside my mind far before intercourse became intertwined in our numerous avenues of love expressions. You make love to me in so many different ways, my queen. You make love to me with that smile that you share whenever you see me. Your support of my decisions show that you love the spirit in me. You make love to me when you talk to me with respect. You make love to me when you take strides with me without fear or without regret. You make love to me as you pray for me throughout the day. And more love is made as we talk to each other about our days and how they went, as well as every time we hold hands. You make love to me when you encourage me on being a godly man. The love shows as I become more and more ready to fight anyone who has something negative to say about your daggone height. But see, that same love calms me down as you remind me that everything is all right. I love and appreciate everything about you, my virtuous queen. I pray that our love continues to grow to the point where it's contagiously seen by everyone who comes within our vicinity. Thank y'all so much. If you like my information, Roderick the Writer, all one word on Instagram. Please get with me to spell it. And I'm connected with Margaret and Liz here. So if y'all on their pages, y'all probably maybe see.
What's your bookstore name?
My bookstore name is called Talley Books Publishing. Like Shwa and Sugar, where I'm into the publishing realm as well.
Where's it at?
And right now we're in a kiosk inside Meadows Mall.
Okay.
Been transitioning out of the home-based business realm, but I'm gonna be there through April, and I am working on getting my own storefront. So it will happen. Thank you. It will happen. It's just a matter of where to be. We don't have that figured out yet, but
we'll be following you to hear about it.
yes. And my company website is rdtalleybooks.com. rdtalleybooks.com. All right, and please get with me afterwards if y'all can't find it. Okay. All right, thank you.
Roderick D. Talley. That's the church I go to right there. And someone who grew up with really bad Christians, it's nice to see somebody who actually believes, you know, it's yeah, so now you know why we love them so much. All right. We know poetry continues to evolve, new forms with every new generation. In the 60s, a poet named Robert Kelly was inspired by the Japanese short form and created a form he calls loon. The loon is a form in 3-line poem. The loon form is a 3-line poem, with the first and the last lines having 5 syllables and the middle line having 3, giving it at the end a crescent. That's where the loon comes from. So I got a few of those myself, and we'll go ahead and read them here for you. I think the first 2 everyone in Las Vegas is going to understand and resonate with. Slow meditation with dry palms on hot desert nights. That was just me standing outside, spacing out. And when you catch yourself spacing out, but you can't move the stare, you're like, wait a minute, I'm staring. And the leaves of the palms are slightly rustling. And it was a hot night. Another one that we do here in Vegas. We hunt for cool air, desire, splendor in the breeze. This one that I think all those folks that moved here from California might also comprehend. When the big one hits, out of state, I sure hope to be. Well, I have to say, I have a really hard time memorizing things. My wife and I were both in a bad car accident years ago, and we both had concussions that were pretty severe. It took us a couple of years to really pull through. We kept calling things like the record player, can opener. Couldn't remember the word for record, or piano. Piano, we kept calling the record player. Couldn't do it. Can opener was a word we totally forgot. Just could not find it at all. And we get to stumble sometimes. Sugar, in fact, had a concussion about 3 weeks before our car accident in roller derby, her last game she played. She went down pretty hard. So anyways, I have a lot of respect for those that can remember all their poems and say them with such heart and passion. It's always impressive. And I think this next poet is one of those people that does exactly that. Remembers, just says her poems with passion, and we'll conclude the night with this poet. If you're a part of the Las Vegas poet scene here, you're no stranger to this person coming up next. We've had this person involved with us since the very beginning of the Avantpop bookstore. In fact, Elizabeth Allen Berry, the poet, writer, artist, and founder of Cosmic Q Publishing, helped us get our podcast room started, which we wouldn't have without her. She's also just been a shining light that comes in and lifts our day every time we see her, much like we've noticed everyone that she's involved with around in her life. So it brings me much pleasure to introduce our next and final poet of the evening, Mrs. Elizabeth Allen Berry.
That one's mine. Howdy, y'all. Oh, it's good to see all your beautiful faces. My name is Elizabeth Allen Berry. I'm a spoken word poet. I run Cosmic Q Publishing, and Avantpop has been one of the first local bookstores, or it was the first local bookstore to invest in me, to have my zines on display, to just share their warmth and energy. So just let's give some snaps for Avantpop. Just like, I wouldn't be where I am now. I wouldn't be in my full-time position doing poetry. So this first, I make zines. I call them my spell books. That's that one. This first poem is from my chapter 3 zine called Gender Reveal. So Elizabeth Allen Berry is my chosen name. Let's get some snaps for chosen name. I chose that shit for a reason. Because I am a pretty princess. And the other day I was filling up my car, and God told me a name. So this is my God-given name. My name is Girl Queen Pussy Boss, and that's why I'm so handsome. God told me this at a gas station, rambling, came up to me looking for my ears as if I had been the one who misplaced in that motherfucker Ricky, they said. I'm here to hear you. I'm your spawn, your revelation. I'm here to stand in your radiance. That motherfucker Ricky, they said. He never listens to my anguish. Why must I feel this impatience? I know I'm meant to be here to receive this information. They spoke to me in tongues like a rapper. A sentence that's run on spoke to me as if I had never mentioned that sometimes I too feel apprehensive. They said that their job had set them free because of what they used to numb their aches and pains. Offer me a swig from their bottle. The God in you sees the God in me, and that's what makes our connection so unique. I plead, what do you need, baby? What do you need? They say they need a cookie for their aches in their back and their feet. What's money when you're talking to the king and the queen and the whole court of royalty? I tell them my name, Elizabeth. And the Holy Trinity, without skipping a beat, tells me, no, your name is Girl Queen Pussy Bossin'. That's why you so handsome. And that's from the mouth of life and death. I never chose this path, but it's clear to me in this math that the decider of future and past has no time for wrath, has no time for spite. In their craft, they made their decision with purpose. My name is Girl Queen Pussy Boss, and that's why I'm so handsome. This name has been held for me a ransom, and now the decree has been made. My name is Girl Queen Pussy Boss. No mouth can come to a loss. no dispute. Do not dishonor our God, my name. Hit it with me, y'all. Is Girl, Queen, Pussy Boss. And if you don't know, that don't make you wrong. You'll just never know why I'm so handsome. Thank you. So that's from chapter 3 of my upcoming book. They're each coming out in limited edition zine format. Wow. Avantpop does not have chapter 3, but you know what they do have? They have chapter 1. Whoa. So this one's called Into the Void. Dun, dun, dun. My upcoming book is called Becoming the Void Walker. So the Void Walker is the character that I channel in being on stage. It's the character from the in-between. But this poem is called Void Walker. My childhood me... Void Walker. My childhood me, deep in my memory, lives visions of me screaming in my sleep. Full dreams of falling into endless texture. Deep in scripture, my pattern had millions of pages. Into the void, my archetypal cognizance released my karmic ties. My character came to me, Void Walker. Reclaiming my power. At the edge of the cosmos, in the land of the in-between, gently sits a cloud of stardust. Not many tread in this land, in this part of the galaxy. Royal blues and gleaming purples tend to cause more bewilderment than curiosity, keeping most travelers at bay. There's a chance, if we are lucky, a nearby star assembly will make a close pass, and we can see the perfectly angular prisms reflecting this part of the universe is rather special. Aptly named expanse of space, a constant manifest of grace. This corridor in the ether is the exact spot where time is ever developing, grandly radiating out into nothingness, the void. In this exceptional cloud, majestic, in her shimmering chair sits prophetic, the Void Walker. Within her palace, on her throne, she scans out over the evolving and exploding nebulas. Entire empires have risen and fallen before her. All civilizations played out their story. She is the only witness. With each breath exists another lifetime. She is a truly ancient being, one of magnificent power. Her journey has been long and tumultuous, for she has many scars. Her long and slender arms can reach across generations, altering planetary orbit systems. Made of crystals, her skin radiate unconditional love. Cosmic symbols emanate from her essence, each one synthesizing a complex extraction, detachment, contemplation, misplaced entrancement. How do we paint ourselves? What part of our lives do we forget that we live? We can define ourselves by our scars, our pain, our futility. Or we can live in our own cosmos, defined by ideas even greater than our imagination. Thank you. I feel like a lot of people, as they witness me, they try to define me or understand me in a deeper way. And ultimately, I am the void. I am the in-between forever. If you see me and you think, that's a girl or a boy, you're right, and that's cool. I forever live in the in-between. And so thank you for joining me in vibrating the in-between all of us. One more or two more poems? Two more. All right, bet. This one is called Letter to My Younger Self. Letter to my younger self. You haven't grown up yet, and that's good for you, youth. You haven't seen Berlin yet, and that's good for your health, because soon extermination will be within your vocabulary. Each word painted like the tears on the face of your mother. Underneath those stone pillars that pay tribute to the annihilated. The same stone pillars we played in. Got lost in, felt the gravity of death like a tidal wave sucking you under like death to those who are different. The word faggot that you would receive over 3,000 times to your flip phone in the English class you could barely stay awake in, the axiality of time. the stringent geometry of limited energy. If only your effeminate credibility was taken more serious, the illusion of order. The anonymity of victims who could never speak their name. I come to you with a letter, like a road forgotten by the past, decrepit and overgrown, but with bones that we can revive. It's the memory of the pink triangle. Those who were not labeled by the yellow star could be as equally damned by the oppressors. It's the same reason why your community, it's the same reason why there isn't scientific literature on the medication that fuels you. It's the same reason why your community can be even afraid to speak to you. It's the fascism in geometry. The shape of constant change. The shape of the first letter of the word Aschficker, die ist nicht meine Muttersprache, aber ich kann der Name Diskriminierung, literally the word assfucker. Your younger self, I did not know that this meant you were not damn for the moment you learned. Du bist schön. Du wirst geliebt. Du liebst mit deinem offenen Herzen, und das macht dich so liebenswert. You did not create this annihilation. Now you must live in the wake of its awesomeness. I'm here to refuse the concentration of our kind. I'm here to refuse the sterilization of our love. I'm here to refuse the destruction of our people. You do not yet know the love you have for the world, and the world is not yet ready for the love you hold in your soul. Deine Liebe ist unbegreiflich groß. Muttergattin der Veränderung, ich bin du. Ich bin hier. Ich wünsche. Ich sage und sagen, wir sind stark. Zusammen, wir sind kosmisch. Wird der Jüngere als ich. Ich liebe dich. Du younger self. Everyone take a deep breath for me. We're gonna let that one go. That one's rather special to my heart. I think German can be used as a really poignant language. All the evil people in stories are German, and we talk about Nazis a lot, but it's a very beautiful language, and I hope that was reflected in that. This last one. So before I was a poet, I got a degree in entomology. That's the study of insects because I like them. They're cute. And then I decided I didn't want to exterminate them for a living. So then I became a barista. And so in my barista-ness, I would show up to work looking as I do. And, people would say the darndest things. One woman came up to me at 8 a.m. and was like, "Oh my gosh, I love your makeup. Did you do it yourself?" And I said, "No, Susan." Before my 5 a.m. shift this morning, I went to Sephora. But they only did half my face. So then I went across town to the other Sephora. And they did the other half of my face. And now I'm here for your pleasure. So that had me thinking about my worth. Who is my worth? How am I worth in this world? So I decided I would write this poem to declare it. My poetry is magic. These are my spell books. And so I hope to share my magic of what it means to see your inner worth. Worth. Sometimes we're told our value through words or actions adverse to the power we hold. Birth. A new status unearths surf torrents of a lurid mirth. Mouth speaks louder the more I know my worth. Worldly, we whittle wasteful woes from our witcheries. Weighty, we speak each word with whimsical warmth. Wallpaper woven like whirlpool, woken with wisdom of waveform. Worth. Birth. A new status unearths surf torrents of a lurid mirth. Mouth speaks louder the more I know my worth. Orator of obscurity, ornate outpouring, obliterating obtuse subjectification, overflowing often with obsolescence to the organisms of oddities, no obsolescence here. This omnibus of outrageous obscenities is meant to be ostentatious. This orientation is organized to show her worth. Birth, a new status on earth, surf torrents of a lurid mirth. Mouth speaks louder the more I know my worth. Rare, recapitulated, the rarest. Resident in righteousness, reinventing and reclaiming what's rightfully ours. Worth, rotisserie, I remaster one repetition at a time. Resilient, I regenerate after each refrain, as if resuscitation was reputable. The real revolt against the razor that rises to reduce. Reliant, radiant, royalty, I know my worth enough to break from my alliterative form and crying line at CBS. I know my worth to know that I will not be called the name of death. My name's Elizabeth, bitch. Rehearse it in memory to remember it. Worth, birth, a new status on earth. So many lives given in search of my journey. Worth. Thank you, y'all.
You got it.
Worth, birth, a new status on earth. Innumerable medals on my wake. Surf torrents of a lurid mirth. This body a temple to erase this malicious attack on. Worth. Tempest tread on tainted turf to the tomb to its time. No tremor in my trudge against time, no test to my towering tide. I am no longer a timid tyke. I am the transfiguration of life, transgender, tried in truth, transmissive from the thin turquoise territory. Even a teacher for my trials and my tumultuous diverse. Even in my tomb, I'm truly a testimony to my term on this terror verse, because I know my worth. Birth, a new status on earth. Flags of every nation flying pride. So many lives given in search of my journey. Am I? You hypnotically heard in this homogeneous home. Heard hurls humility in the hexagon with haste. I hook without hesitance, haptic. She's hilarious, holomorphic, it's hereditary. On horizons, no heritage. Hallelujah, she's humanitarian because I know my worth. WORTH. Whiplash on rhetoric to harm. Withstand ontogeny, remunerated through hyperfixation. We, otherworldly, repose, tenacious, headliner writing, original reimagining, traditionally hitting with woeful obliquity, rueful trade-off, Woman, occult, resonant, triumphant, historical, worth. Please go to Avantpop, buy all the zines that they have there. Please support them. My name's Elizabeth Allenberry. Thanks for having me on.
Well, I have to say tonight was a success. That was fantastic. I want to thank our poets for coming out tonight and being a part of this. Everybody else, thank you as well. So this is just the beginning of what we call our Poetry Arcade. We started off with our Avantpop poetry, punk poetry zine to give, highlight new and upcoming poets, and poets who are already established here as well, of course, but just to give a little voice and to kind of, instead of going full bore with a book, to kind of get their poems out there so that other people can discover them and hopefully want more from them. So that was the beginning with that. But we also wanted to be able to create something that pays the poets back. So this is the beginning to get the excitement built for the Poetry Arcade. Poetry Arcade will be at one of the bigger establishments here. We're talking to Square Bar. We think it might be there, but at one of the galleries, if not, where the poets will read, much like tonight, bigger audience. And after they're done, everyone can buy tokens, which in your program tonight, there's a ticket in there, and that is for a free token. What that is so after the poet reads, you take your token, you find your favorite poet, and they will then take you to our Avantpop podcast room where you can plug in and get an intimate reading right there. And that way you can pay your favorite poets, and then we'll know which ones everyone likes that we can move forward with, and the others we'll just have to let go to the side. Just joking. Suffering, remember? That's what inspires me. No, but seriously, we're excited to give voice to these poets. There's so many talented people here in Las Vegas, and as you've seen tonight, we want to make sure that they continue to have a voice and get their work out there. So thank you all again for coming. Thank you to Jessica and Office of Collecting. This place is amazing. If you get a chance, please come on down and support. She's got an event this Friday, I believe. And also, yes, swing on by Avantpop Bookstore anytime. I may be the voice, but it is a two-person company, and my wife is very much a big aspect of making it all happen. From my own writing, she is my editor, my agent, my muse, and I want to make sure.
Cover of the Indulgence too.
She's also an artist as well. So, well, thank you, folks. We do have some refreshments out here, and help yourself, and then we'll be heading on out of here. And we hope to see you guys all at the Poetry Arcade. Thanks, guys.